Medusa, the monster and the myth. Across the windswept ruins of ancient Greece, where the stories of gods and monsters are etched into stone, one figure stands out in myth and memory. Medusa, the serpent-haired Gorgon, whose gaze could turn men to stone. A figure of terror, beauty, and tragedy. Her story has transcended time, inspiring awe, fear, and fascination for millennia. But who was Medusa? Was she simply a monster to be slain? A challenge for heroes like Perseus? Or was her story something deeper, more complicated? As we unravel her tale, we will discover how Medusa's image has transformed, from a symbol of horror in ancient Greece to a complex figure of feminine power in modern times. This is the story of Medusa, the monster and the myth, a tale that spans centuries, touching on themes of beauty, power, fear, and vengeance. Her legacy is not just that of a monster, but of a symbol whose meaning has changed with each retelling. Her face is one of the most recognizable in all of mythology, Medusa, the snake-haired Gorgon, whose gaze could turn any mortal to stone. For centuries, her image has struck fear into the hearts of those who encounter it. But beyond the myth, beyond the terror, lies a deeper story, one of transformation, injustice, and power. This is Medusa, the monster and the myth. Number 1. Origins of the myth. Medusa's story begins in ancient Greece. She was one of 3 Gorgon sisters, monstrous beings with hair of snakes, sharp fangs, and a gaze that could petrify any who looked upon them. But unlike her immortal sisters, Medusa was human, and her fate was far more tragic. Before becoming a monster, Medusa was a beautiful maiden, a priestess in the temple of Athena. Her beauty, however, would be her downfall. One night, Poseidon, god of the sea, assaulted her within the sacred temple. But it was not Poseidon who faced punishment. It was Medusa. In a twist of cruel irony, Athena punished Medusa for desecrating her temple. She transformed her into the very monster we know today. Her hair became writhing snakes, her skin pale as marble, and her eyes capable of turning men to stone. This transformation was both her curse and her defense, an act of vengeance and protection. And so, Medusa became a symbol of terror, cast out and forced to live in isolation. But was she truly the monster of legend? Or was she a victim of the gods' cruelty? As we explore her legacy, we'll see how Medusa's story is more than just a myth. It's a reflection of power, punishment, and the complexity of female rage. Number 2. Medusa, as a symbol in art. While Medusa was feared, she was also revered as a powerful symbol. In ancient Greece, her image was used to ward off evil. Medusa's face, frozen in a scream of rage and terror, adorned shields, coins, and buildings. The Gorgonion, as it was known, became a protective emblem, meant to scare away malevolent forces. Medusa's image had the power to protect, the very thing that made her monstrous. Her ability to petrify also made her a symbol of defense and strength. She was both feared and respected, a paradox that would follow her through the centuries. During the Renaissance, artists like Caravaggio depicted Medusa with a strange mix of horror and beauty. In these paintings, Medusa's face is both tragic and terrifying, her pain immortalized alongside her monstrous power. Number 3. The feminist reinterpretation. In recent years, Medusa's story has been reclaimed, particularly by feminist movements. No longer just a monster, Medusa has become a symbol of female rage, survival, and transformation. Her story resonates with women who have been silenced, marginalized, or punished for their trauma. Medusa's transformation is now seen as a reflection of the way society punishes women, particularly victims of violence. Her ability to turn men to stone is viewed as a metaphor for the power women can hold over those who seek to harm them. Artists and writers have embraced Medusa as a figure of empowerment, turning her curse into a symbol of resistance. Medusa, once feared for her monstrousness, is now celebrated for her strength. In her snakes, women find resilience. In her gaze, they find power. Number 4. Medusa in popular culture. Medusa's influence extends far beyond the ancient world. Today, she appears in films, television, and video games, her story constantly evolving with each new retelling. From a monstrous villain to a tragic anti-hero, Medusa's image has been reimagined countless times. In modern retellings like Clash of the Titans, Medusa is often portrayed as a villain to be defeated, a relic of her mythological origins. But some versions now offer a more nuanced view, exploring the tragedy of her story and the complexity of her character. Whether as a monster, a tragic figure, or an anti-hero, Medusa continues to fascinate audiences, her story adaptable to the times and the values of each new generation. Number 5. Monster or misunderstood. Medusa's story, like her gaze, has the power to hold us captive. She is not simply a monster from ancient myth, but a symbol whose meaning has shifted with time. From a beautiful maiden punished for her victimhood, to a fearsome protector, to an icon of female empowerment, Medusa's legacy is as complex as it is enduring. In the end, the question remains: is Medusa truly a monster, or is she a reflection of society's deepest fears and injustices? Perhaps she is both, a figure who embodies the duality of fear and power, destruction and transformation. Medusa, the monster and the myth, will continue to captivate us for generations to come.